Marina winced as her husband's hot breath burned her ear. Hide the bruise, and sit beautifully. Mom doesn't like it when you ruin her holiday. Igor hissed, squeezing her shoulder so hard that she barely held back a scream. In the restaurant hall, the music was thundering. The guests were having fun, celebrating Valentina Pavlovna's anniversary, Marina's mother-in-law. No one noticed how the young woman quickly adjusted her hair, covering a dark spot on her cheekbone, and pulled a smile like a mask. But when Valentina Pavlovna rose from her seat, preparing to deliver a response to the guests' toasts, Igor's face transformed. Beyond recognition. The harsh features softened, warmth appeared in the eyes, and the lips stretched into sincere, as it seemed to smile. "Dear Mommy, let me say a few words," he exclaimed, standing up and raising his glass. Marina looked at this metamorphosis with bitterness. She knew this game too well. Valentina Pavlovna, a stately woman of 60 years old with impeccable hairdo and in an elegant burgundy-colored dress, she nodded favorably to her son. She adored Igor, her only child, a successful businessman, who, in her opinion, was the epitome of an ideal man. "Sure, son, go ahead." Her voice was soft and gentle, as it always was when she addressed him. "Dear Mother, on this wonderful day I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. You raised me to be a real man, taught me to value family and take care of loved ones. Looking at you, I understand what I should be to be a real woman, wise, beautiful, caring. And I am infinitely happy that I found such a wonderful wife as you." Igor turned to Marina, a warning flashing in his eyes. "Right, dear." Marina mechanically she nodded, feeling a lump in her throat. She remembered how 3 years ago Igor said similar words at their wedding. And then she believed each of them. Them. What a naive fool she was. He struck the first blow a month after wedding. She dared to object to him in front of his friends. Then he cried, asked forgiveness, swore that it would never happen again. But it did happen again and became regular. Marinochka is just a sweetheart, isn't she, Mom? Look how she takes care of our home, as she loves me. We are thinking about giving you grandchildren next year, Igor continued, and the guest smiled and whispered approvingly. Marina felt her palms become damp. Grandchildren. She was afraid even think about bringing a child to this hell. Valentina Pavlovna blossomed. "Oh, my son, that would be the best gift. My dear Marinochka, is that true?" She turned to her daughter-in-law with such sincere happiness in her eyes that Marina felt a pang heart. How to tell this woman that her beloved son is a monster? What the behind closed doors of their apartment he turns into a tyrant? "Yes, Valentina Pavlovna, we are thinking about it," Marina squeezed out, and her voice sounded surprise evenly. Years of living with Igor taught her to control her emotions, hide pain and fear behind a mask of well-being. "That's great. Now let's drink to Mom, for the woman who became an example for me in everything." Igor raised his glass, and the guests supported the toast unanimously. Marina sipped the champagne, feeling its bitterness on her tongue. Or was it the bitterness of her own life? Aliona was sitting next to her, Marina's best friend since college. She was the only one who guessed what was going on in his friend's family. But Marina stubbornly denied it. All suspicions. Elena caught her gaze and frowned slightly, noticing how Marina holds her head unnaturally, clearly hiding something under her hair. "Marin, let's go fix our makeup," Elena whispered, leaning towards a friend. It was their signal, an excuse to talk in private. But before Marina could answer, I felt my husband's heavy hand on my knee. "Where are you going, darling?" "Mom is going to cut the cake now. It's awkward to leave." Igor's voice sounded gentle, but Marina heard steel in him. "I'll just be here for a minute," she tried, but the grip on her knees increased. "Marina will stay here." "Right, dear. You don't want to upset your mother on her holiday." Igor smiled, but his eyes remained cold. Elena frowned more deeply, but remained silent. She knew that the conflict will only make the friend's situation worse. At that moment, a stranger came to their table. A young waitress came up, a girl of about 20 with red curls gathered in a high ponytail. "Excuse me, would you like some more champagne?" she asked, and accidentally touched Marina's glass. The drink spilled onto the tablecloth. A few drops landed on dress. Marina saw Igor's face distorted with anger, but he quickly took "Pull yourself together. There are too many witnesses." "It's okay," he muttered through his teeth. "Teeth. My wife is to blame." She held the glass awkwardly. The waitress was confused. froze, not understanding why the man was blaming his wife for her mistake. Sorry, it's my fault. I'll get some napkins, the girl babbled and hurried away. Marina felt tears welling up in her eyes, not from the spilled champagne, but from humiliation. Igor always found a way to make her feel guilty about everything. Igor, son, what's going on there? Valentina Pavlovna noticed a little commotion. It's okay, Mom. Marina's just a little awkward today. She's probably nervous. We did announce our plans for children. Igor put on an understanding smile, and the guest smiled, accepting him. Explanation. The waitress returned with napkins and began to blot the tablecloth. Marina noticed the girl looking at her with sympathy. Apparently, she too caught the falseness in Igor's words. Thank you. Everything is fine, Marina said quietly, and the waitress nodded. The party continued. Valentina Pavlovna talked about her plans for the future. She was going to travel more, take up yoga, maybe even write a book of memoirs. You know, I have dedicated my whole life to my family, raising my son. My husband passed away early, and I raised Igor alone. It was hard, but I don't regret anything. Look what a wonderful person he has grown into. The guests nodded in agreement, and Marina clutched the napkin in her hand, crumpling it until it hurt. Fingers. A wonderful person. If Valentina Pavlovna knew that her wonderful son threw his wife against the wall yesterday just because she bought something that kind of coffee. If she had seen the bruises on her ribs, her back, her arms, the ones that are easy hide under clothes. And do you remember, Valentina Pavlovna, how Igor did at school protected that boy from the bullies? Aunt Liuda, a distant relative, intervened. Oh yeah, my son has always defended the weak. He has a heightened sense of justice, the birthday girl answered proudly. Marina almost laughed hysterically. Justice. Igor punished her for being 5 minutes late, for the soup being too salty, for that she didn't answer his call quickly enough. His fairness was measured by the force of the blow and the number of bruises. Marinochka, tell me have you met Igor? I love romantic stories, asked one of Valentina's friends. Pavlovna, an elderly lady, in a bright pink dress. Marina felt how Igor tensed up next to him. He didn't like it. When she talked a lot in public, he was afraid that she might say something wrong. We met in a cafe, Marina began, choosing my words carefully. I came there with a friend, and Igor was sitting at the next table with his colleagues. He came up to introduce himself, was very gallant. She remembered that day to the smallest details. Igor was truly charming. He brought her a rose from bouquet that stood on the bar counter, joked, making people laugh. He seemed a prince from a fairy tale. And I immediately realized that she was the woman of my dreams. He picked up Igor. Hugging her wife by the shoulders, Marina felt his fingers hurt dug into her shoulder. A warning not to say too much. Beautiful, smart, from a good family. Mom approved of her right away. Right, Mom? Oh, yeah. I saw Marinochka and thought, this is the ideal wife for my son. Modest, well-mannered, not from these modern careerists who only think about work. Valentina Pavlovna nodded approvingly. Marina gritted her teeth. She dreamed of a career as a designer, but Igor made her quit right after the wedding. A wife should sit at home and to take care of my husband, he said then. The cake was brought in to applause, a 3-tiered masterpiece with marzipan roses and 60 candles. Valentina Pavlovna blew them out in 3 tries, and everyone clapped. Desire, did you make a wish? Someone asked. Of course, I want to babysit my grandchildren, she laughed. Birthday girl, and Marina felt sick again. The dancing began. Igor invited Mother, circling her around the hall under the admiring glances of the guests. Marina remained behind table, watching them. Valentina Pavlovna glowed with happiness, looking at son with adoration. How to destroy this illusion? How to admit that the ideal son is a domestic tyrant? Murin, let's go dance. Elena handed her hand. The men had gone out to smoke. Igor wouldn't see. Marina nodded gratefully and stood up. On the dance floor, Elena pulled her closer and whispered, What's wrong with your face? I see you're hiding something under your hair. It's okay, Aliona. Marina tried to brush it off, but her friend was persistent. Don't lie, is he again? Marina was silent, but her silence was more eloquent than any words. Lord, Murin, how much longer can this go on? Tolerate? Leave him. Where will I go? I have no job, no money. His apartment, his car. And no one will believe it. Look what an ideal son he is, loving husband. Marina smiled bitterly. I will believe. Your parents will believe. You just need to gather up your courage. Their conversation was interrupted by Igor. He materialized next to them, as if from air. What are you whispering about, girls? His tone was playful, but Marina caught it threat. Just about women, Elena quickly answered, feeling the tension. Marina, your mom is calling you. She wants to take a picture. Igor took his wife by the arm, leading her away from girlfriends. At the photographer's Valentina Pavlovna sat Marina down next to her. Smile, my dear, why are you so sad? It's a holiday. Marina obediently stretched her lips, in a smile, and the photographer clicked the shutter. All the photos will have a happy family, loving son, caring daughter-in-law, happy mother-in-law. No one will see the pain behind the smile. And now all together, the photographer commanded, and the relatives crowded around the birthday girl. Igor stood behind Marina, putting his hands on her shoulders. From the side, the gesture-loving husband, but Marina felt his fingers tightening ever tighter. Warning, threat, promise of punishment at home. After photo session, the party rolled to an end. The guests began to leave thanks to wonderful evening. Valentina Pavlovna was beaming. The anniversary was a great success. Thank you, my dears, for giving me such a celebration. She hugged her son and daughter-in-law. Y, take care of Marinochka. Such wives are worth their weight in gold. Of course, Mom. I take care of her. Like the apple of my eye, Igor assured. And Marina barely held back a bitter laugh. Take care. If the bruises and humiliation, this is care, then what is cruelty? In the car on the way home, Igor was silent, and this silence was more terrible than any screams. Marina cowered in her corner, knowing that at home she will have to pay. For what? For the spilled champagne, for a salty dance, for an insufficiently sincere smile. The reason is always will be found. You have disgraced me, Igor finally said, without taking his eyes off Rhodes. Igor, I keep quiet. I sat like statue, barely smiling. Mom noticed, asked if everything was okay with us okay. What should I have told her? That my wife is an ungrateful fool. Marina, she remained silent, knowing that any excuses would only make him angrier. The city flashed past the window. Lights, people, life. Somewhere there were happy families, loving husbands, wives who weren't afraid to come home. And she was going to her prison to his executioner. At home, Igor silently walked into the bedroom, and Marina was relieved exhaled. Maybe it will be okay. She began to take off her jewelry in front of mirror in the hallway, when suddenly she saw his reflection behind her. In his hand he held her phone. What was that? His voice was deceptively calm. On the screen was message from Elena. Morin, think about what I said. You deserve it. Better. If you decide to leave, I will help. Marina went cold. She forgot to delete the message, and Igor checked her phone regularly. So that's about it. What were you whispering? Are you planning an escape? Igor threw the phone against the wall, and he shattered into pieces. Igor, it's not what you think. It's not. What is it? Your girlfriend is turning you against me, and you're giving in to her. The blow landed in the stomach, knocking the air out of lungs. Marina bent over, gasping for air. A second blow to the back, and she fell. On your knees. Do you think you can leave me? Where will you go? Who needs you? Igor kicked her, saying, I pulled you out of poverty, gave you everything, and you ungrateful creature. Marina curled up, protecting her stomach and head. She learned to endure pain in silence. Screams only inflamed him more. How long did this last? About 5 to 10 minutes. Time stretched out, turning every a second into eternity. Finally, Igor ran out of breath. Get up, he ordered, and Marina rose with difficulty, holding onto the wall. If you'll mention leaving again if I see you hanging out with that scum Elena, you'll feel sorry for me and I'll tell your mom what you're really like. I'll tell her that you're cheating on me, that you're drinking. She won't believe you. She'll believe me. Got it? Marina nodded, unable to speak. Igor chuckled with satisfaction and went to the bedroom. You'll sleep on the couch. And so that there are no traces in the morning, tomorrow Mom's coming for dinner, he threw over his shoulder. Marina slowly walked to the bathroom. A strange face looked at her in the mirror, pale, with smudged mascara and a new bruise on the cheekbone to the old one. She turned on the water and cried for a long time, drowning out her sobbing with noise pouring water. How did she get to this life? Where is that cheerful girl who dreamed of conquering the world with her design ideas? The night dragged on endlessly. Marina lay on the couch, feeling how every cell of the body hurt. But stronger than the physical pain was mental pain. She's trapped. Elena is right, she needs to leave. But how? Igor controls her every step. There is no money. He takes all the receipts, checks the expenses. The documents are hidden in his safe. His parents live in another city and believe that everything is fine with my daughter. She lied to them so convincingly on the phone. In the morning, Marina woke up from Igor shaking her shoulder. Get up, Mom. In 2 it will be an hour. Get yourself in order and prepare dinner. And remember, not a word unnecessary. He spoke as if nothing had happened yesterday. This was another one of his peculiarity. After the fits of rage, he behaved as if nothing had happened. Marina got up, wincing in pain. In the bathroom, she spent a long time covering up the bruise with foundation and powder. It wasn't perfect, but I'll have to hide behind my hair again. She wore dresses with long sleeves. Igor's fingerprints were on her hands. Marina moved automatically while preparing dinner. Olivier salad, her favorite Valentina Pavlovna. Kiev cutlets, how she makes them, side dish. Igor he controlled the process, tried, and demanded that what he didn't like be redone. Mom mustn't suspect that we have a problem, he warned Valentina. Pavlovna arrived exactly at 1 o'clock, as promised. Elegant, well-groomed. With a perfect, she always looked impeccable with her hair. My dears, how glad I am to see you. She hugged her son, then her daughter-in-law. Marina tried not to wince in pain. During dinner, Valentina Pavlovna talked about yesterday's guests, about the gift she received, about plans for the near future. You know, I'm thinking of signing up for Italian courses. I've always dreamed of learning this language, she shared. Great idea, Mom. You're a good boy. You don't sit still, Igor approved. And what about you, my children? Marinochka, you look a bit pale today. Valentina Pavlovna looked at her daughter-in-law carefully. Marina tensed up. Just tired after yesterday. Valentina Pavlovna went to bed late. She tried to smile naturally. I understand. But take care of yourself, especially if you are planning to have children. By the way, are you serious about this? Mother-in-law's eyes lit up. Igor took his wife's hand in his, a gentle gesture from the side. But Marina felt warning squeeze. Of course, Mom, we've already consulted the doctor. Everything is in okay. We can get started. He winked at his mother. Marina felt sick. They never didn't talk about children seriously, much less go to the doctor. This was another lie of Igor's, so that to please the mother. But what will happen when the deception is revealed? Although, maybe he really want a baby? The thought made her feel even more sick. A baby in this hell. Wonderful. Oh, I'll be the happiest grandma. I'll take my grandchildren to theaters, museums. I'll teach them French. Valentina Pavlovna made plans, and Marina nodded mechanically, feeling the walls closing in around her. After lunch, mother-in-law asked to show her the new curtains in the bedroom. Marina recently changed them. In the room, Valentina Pavlovna suddenly took her daughter-in-law by the hand. Marinochka, I want something to say. Her voice became serious. Marina's heart sank. Did she suspect something? I know it can be difficult with Igor. He just like his father. He was also demanding. But, you know, you need to be able to understand men. Don't argue over trifles. Create coziness. Be wise. I've lived my whole life like this. And, look, you raised a wonderful son. Valentina Pavlovna stroked Marina's hand. Marina almost burst into tears. Valentina Pavlovna felt something, but interpreted it in her own way. Demanding. If she knew how much her son is demanding. I'm trying, Valentina Pavlovna, she squeezed out. Marina, I know, darling. And also, if there are difficulties, don't be shy, come to me. I'm like a mother to you. Her mother-in-law hugged her, and Marina froze. Like a mother. But would a mother believe that her beloved son was a monster? Wouldn't will take his side. They returned to the living room where Igor was watching TV. What were you two secretly chatting about? He asked with a smile. But Marina caught a hint of suspicion. Women's talk, son. I gave Marina advice on how to make you happy. Valentina Pavlovna winked at her son. Mom always gives the best advice. Igor hugged his mother. Right, dear. He looked at his wife, and she nodded obediently. The performance continued. Valentina Pavlovna left in the evening, leaving behind a trail of expensive perfume and a promise to visit again soon. Barely the door closed behind her. Igor turned to his wife. What did she tell you in the bedroom? His voice was sharp. Nothing special, just advice on family life, honestly, Marina answered. Advice? What advice? Igor came closer, and she instinctively retreated. It's normal to be a good wife, not to contradict husband. Igor relaxed. So listen to your mother. She lived her life and knows how to do it right. And what does your mother know? She worked all her life as schoolteacher. Father an engineer at the factory. Ordinary people. You were lucky to enter into our family, he said with contempt, and Marina wanted to object. Her parents were wonderful people, kind, loving, honest. But she remained silent. It was dangerous to argue. The following days passed in a tense calm. Igor left for work, returned in the evening, demanded a report on the work-done day. Marina showed receipts from stores, told what she cooked, what she watched on TV. He checked the browser history on his computer, calls on home phone. He never bought a new mobile phone. He said that she didn't deserve. One day, when Igor was at work, the doorbell rang. Marina looked through the peephole and froze. Elena. How did she find out the address? Although it's a stupid question, they were best friends. Elena had been here before, until Igor forbade her to come. Marina, open the door. I know you're home. Her friend's voice was decisive. Marina hesitated if Igor found out, but the desire to see a loved one overcame her fear. She opened the door. Oh my God, Marin. Elena threw up her hands, seeing the poorly concealed bruise. Be quiet, the neighbors will hear. Marina pulled her into the apartment. Marin, this is more can't go on. Look at yourself. You'll die with him. Elena said passionately, holding my friend's hands. I found the phone number for a women's crisis center. They help in such situations, provide shelter and legal assistance. Let's go right now. Marina shook her head. I can't. Aliona. I don't have documents. He hid them. No money. And then he will find me. He will find me everywhere. Her voice trembled. We'll restore the documents. I'll give you the money, but we'll hide it from him. Marin, please. And his mother. Valentina Pavlovna won't survive if she finds out. The truth. Her heart is sick. Marina was looking for excuses, although deep down knew that Elena was right. It's not your concern. You don't have to sacrifice yourself. For the sake of her illusions. They argued for another 10 minutes when Marina heard the sound of a key in the castle. The blood drained from his face. Igor, his back. Aliona. Hide, but it was late. Igor stood in the doorway, and his face, having brought Aliona, was distorted with rage. So. What's going on here? His voice was deceptively calm, but Marina, I knew it was the calm before the storm. Igor, I just dropped by to see Marina. Aliona tried to speak confidently, but her voice wavered. To visit. After that, as I made it clear that you are not welcome here. Igor slowly entered the apartment, closing the door behind him. Igor, please, Marina began, but he abruptly turned to her. You let her in after everything I told you? Next seconds merged into one nightmare. Igor grabbed Marina by the hair, pulling it so hard that she screamed. Aliona rushed to help, trying to drag him away, but he threw her away, like a trinket doll. Get out of my house, he barked. I'm calling the police. Aliona, she took out her phone, but Igor knocked it out of her hands. Try it. I'll tell you that you broke into my house, attacked my wife. Who will he believe? Me, the respected the businessman, or you? Elena, go away. Marina groaned. Still in the grip husband. Please, just go away. Elena looked at her with pain and despair. I won't leave it like this, Marin. I swear. She picked up her phone and walked out. When the door closed, Igor let go of Marina, pushing her against the wall. Are you nuts? Letting that bitch into my house. He was furious. She came herself. I didn't invite you. Marina tried to justify herself, but this only inflamed him even more. I didn't invite you. How did she know you were home alone? Did you text or call each other? He grabbed her by the throat, pressing her against the wall. No, I swear, she did it herself. Marina wheezed, trying to breathe. He let go of her and she slid down the wall, gulping air. If this one shows up here again, if you mess with her again, I'll kill you. You understand? Igor stood over her, and there was such hatred in his eyes that Marina had no doubt he was capable of it. I see, she whispered. Louder. I see, she repeated louder. That's a clever girl. Now get up and cook dinner and get yourself in order. You look disgusting. He went into the bedroom, leaving her on the floor. Marina sat for a long time, leaning against the wall. That was it. That was the end. Elena tried to help, but what can she? Igor is right. They're more likely to believe him. He has connections, money, reputation. And she is nobody. A wife who must remain silent and endure. In the evening at dinner, Igor behaved as usual, talked about work, plans for weekend. On Saturday, we'll go to my mom's dacha. She wants to show off her new rose garden, he said. Marina nodded. What else could she do? And one more thing. I wrote down you to the doctor on Monday. It's time to take the issue of children seriously. Looked at her expectantly. Okay, Marina replied, feeling everything inside her break. A child from this man. A small defenseless creature in this hell. Marina couldn't sleep at night. I thought about escaping, but where to run? No documents, no money, no support. Igor will find her everywhere. He has long arms. And then what? He said, he'll kill. And she believed him. On Saturday, they went to Valentina Pavlovna's dacha. The mother-in-law greeted them joyfully and immediately dragged them into the garden to show her pride. Roses of all shades and sizes. Look how beautiful. I called this one Marinochka. Delicate, pink, like you, my dear. She pointed to a bush with pale pink flowers. Marina was touched against her will. Valentina Pavlovna loved her in her own way. She just didn't see her or didn't want to see her truth about my son. Thank you, Valentina Pavlovna. Very beautiful rose, she said sincerely. Mom, we have news, Igor intervened. On Monday, Marina goes to the doctor. We begin to seriously prepare for the addition. Valentina Pavlovna clasped her hands in joy. Finally. Oh, I'm so happy. I'll need to prepare a room for the baby. I have a cradle of Gorky in the attic. I'll definitely give it to you. They walked in the garden, drank tea on the veranda, and from the outside looked like the perfect family. Valentina Pavlovna told stories from Igor's childhood. He smiled shyly. Marina feigned interest. A typical family weekend. And do you remember, Y, how did you say at 5 years old that you would only marry a princess? I laughed. Valentina Pavlovna. And so he got married. She looked tenderly at Marina. Marinochka, we have a real princess. Beautiful, gentle, fragile. Yes, I'm lucky. Igor hugged his wife, and everything looked very touching. Only Marina felt how his fingers dig painfully into her shoulder. A reminder to behave properly. On the way back, Igor was in a good mood. Mom is happy. That's the main thing, he said. Yes, Marina agreed. What else could she say? And you will do everything so that she stays happy. You'll give birth to a grandson, be an exemplary wife and daughter-in-law. I understand, Marina answered dully. Her life turned into an endless understood. Okay, as you say. She became robot that carries out commands. On Monday, the doctor's visit went as usual. Fog. The doctor, a grey-haired man with kind eyes, asked about health, ordered tests. Physically you are healthy, Mrs. Volkova, but I see that you tense. Planning a pregnancy is stressful for many women. Don't worry, everything will be fine. He smiled encouragingly, if only he knew the reason for it. Tension. But Marina smiled back and thanked him. Igor waited in the hallway and asked about the visit on the way home. Everything was fine. Tests next week, she reported briefly. Excellent. Mom will be here soon. We'll get a grandson. He was pleased. Marina looked out the car window and thought, is this really her destiny? To give birth to a child for a man who beats her, to raise him in an atmosphere of fear and lies. The phone rang at home. Igor picked up the receiver, and his face darkened. What? When? I'll be there now. He threw the phone. Mom's in the hospital. Heart attack, he said shortly, grabbing keys. In the hospital, Valentina Pavlovna was in the intensive care unit pail with an oxygen mask. The doctor explained that the attack was not severe, but requires observation. She mustn't worry, he warned. Igor sat at his mother's bedside, holding her hand. At these moments he looked lost, vulnerable, not the same at all. The monster Marina knew. Mommy, you'll get better. Everything will be fine, he whispered. Valentina Pavlovna weakly squeezed his hand. Igorek, take care of Marinochka. She's a good girl. Her voice was barely audible. Of course, Mom. I'm taking care of her, Igor assured. And Marina turned away to hide her tears. Even now, in her hospital bed, Valentina Pavlovna was thinking about them. The next days were spent in the hospital. Igor did not leave his mother's side, and Marina saw in him of the loving son he pretended to be in public. Only now it wasn't a game. He was really afraid of losing his mother. Valentina Pavlovna was going to amendment. Doctors said that the danger had passed, but rehabilitation was needed. No stress, the cardiologist said sternly. Only positive emotions. Igor nodded, promising to create ideal conditions for his mother. One evening, when Valentina Pavlovna was sleeping, Igor went out into the hallway with Marina. If Mom finds out about our differences, it will kill her. Do you understand? His voice was quiet, but threatening. I understand, Marina answered. So you will be the perfect wife. For her sake. He looked at her point blank. I will, she promised. A week later, Valentina Pavlovna discharged. Igor hired a nurse, a young woman named Olga, and nurse education. She had to be with Valentina Pavlovna during the day, monitor the reception medicine, help around the house. Olga turned out to be a pleasant woman of about 30 with a soft smile and a calm character. Valentina Pavlovna immediately approached her settled in. Such a sweet girl. And you know, Marinochka, she's married too. Her husband is a military man, often shared on business trips mother-in-law. Marina communicated with Olga when she visited mother-in-law. She told about her life, about her husband, whom she sincerely loved. You know, when you love, you are ready to wait as long as it takes. The main thing is to know that you are loved too, she said. And Marina thought bitterly about her marriage. One day, when Valentina Pavlovna slept after dinner, Olga made tea and invited Marina to kitchen. Marina, can I ask you a personal question? She began cautiously. You have everything in okay. Marina tensed up. Of course. What? It's just that I'm a nurse. I see that you have a bruise on your wrist, and you often touch your ribs as if you are in pain. Olga looked with sympathy. Marina quickly hid her hand. I'm clumsy and always bump into things. She tried to smile. Olga was silent for a moment, then took out of her bag business card. This is the phone number of the Women's Aid Center. Just in case, they consult anonymously. She put the card on the table. Marina looked at it. As expressed. The second person in a month offered to help. Thanks, but I don't need it. She pushed the business card away. Leave it. You never know, Olga insisted. And Valentina Pavlovna said, you are planning to have children. Think carefully. Children do not strengthen a problematic marriage. It is being destroyed completely. Marina grabbed the business card and hid it in her pocket. Hearing the steps, Valentina Pavlovna woke up. What are you girls chatting about? She walked into the kitchen, smiling. About women Valentina Pavlovna. About fashion. About recipes Olga easily lied. At home Marina hid the business card in an old book. She hadn't intended to call, but for some reason I couldn't throw the card away. Maybe it was a sign. First Elena, now Olga. But no, she can't. Valentina Pavlovna has just recovered from a heart attack. The truth about her son will kill her. Igor has been calmer in recent days. Illness mother distracted him. He did not even raise his hand, limiting himself to verbal humiliations. For Marina, it was almost a vacation. She knew it was temporary, but was grateful for the respite. They visited Valentina again on weekends. Pavlovna. She looked better, her cheeks turned pink, her energy returned. I feel great. Olga is so caring, and the medications help, she rejoiced. The main thing is, don't overwork yourself, Mom, Igor instructed. At dinner Valentina Pavlovna suddenly said, You know, I thought a lot in the hospital, about life, about what is important, and I understand, family is the most important thing. Igor, take care of Marinochka. Such wives are rare in our time. Igor nodded, squeezing his wife's hand. Of course, Mom. Marina is my treasure. After lunch, Valentina Pavlovna asked Marina to help her sort out the old photographs. They were sitting in the living room, sorting through albums. Look, it's Igorek in first grade. How serious, she marveled. The photo showed a skinnier boy with big eyes, not at all like the current Igor. And this is us with husband in his youth. He was a handsome man, wasn't he? Valentina Pavlovna showed wedding photo. You know, he was also a difficult person, hot-tempered, but I loved him and learned to live with it. Marina turned cold. Really? Valentina Pavlovna, did he offend you? She asked cautiously. The mother-in-law was silent. All sorts of things happened, but that's in the past. The main thing is, I raised a good son. He won't repeat his father's mistakes. She stroked the photo. Igor. Marina almost burst into tears, if only she knew. In the evening at home, Igor was thoughtful. Mom said strange things today. About father, he said. Yes, she mentioned that he was hot-tempered. Be careful, Marina answered. Hot-tempered. He was a tyrant. Beat her, humiliated her. I hated him. There was anger in Igor's voice. But you didn't such. Marina said this automatically, but immediately realized the absurdity of her words. Igor looked at her with a strange look. Not like that. Do you think I'm like that? He. His voice became dangerously quiet. No, that's not what I meant. What did you mean by say? He came closer, and Marina stepped back. Never mind, I'm sorry, I expressed myself poorly. Igor looked at her for a long moment, then turned away. Go to sleep. I'll sit a little longer, he said. Marina hurried away, feeling relieved. At night she thought about Valentina's words, Pavlovna. So, Igor grew up in the same atmosphere. He saw his father beat his mother and repeat his path. A vicious circle. And she, Marina, is now part of this circle. And if they will there be a child, a son, who will grow up to be the same. Marina's mother called in the morning. Daughter, how are you? Dad and I miss you. Maybe you'll come visit? Her mother's voice was so familiar that Marina almost burst into tears. Mom, we still can't. Valentina Pavlovna was ill. We need to keep an eye on her. She was lying, as always. I understand. But maybe you could come alone for at least a couple of days? There was a note of hope. I'll ask Igor, Marina answered, knowing that he wouldn't let go. Of course, my daughter, take care of yourself. We love you. After the call, Marina cried for a long time. Parents, they think she's doing well. She lied so convincingly. These years, that they have a wonderful apartment, not to mention that it is a prison, that Igor caring husband, not mentioning both of them, that they are happy hiding their hell. Igor, of course, did not let her go to her parents. Mom needs us now. Your parents can wait, he snapped. Marina didn't argue. It was useless. She called her mother, lied about important business, promised to come later. Days merged into a grey mass. In the morning, cooking, cleaning, going to the store under strict control. In the afternoon, a visit to Valentina Pavlovna, conversations with Olga, who continued to cast sympathetic glances at her. In the evening, dinner with Igor, his nagging, humiliation, sometimes beatings. The business card of the help center was burning my pocket. Marina took it out several times and looked at the phone number. One call. So what? They'll give her asylum. And then Igor will find her. She had no doubt. And then one evening something happened. That changed everything. Igor came home from work drunk. Rare for him condition. We were celebrating a contract, he explained. Swaying, Marina tensed up. Drunk Igor was unpredictable. Do you know what my partner told me today? That I'm a lucky guy, a beautiful wife, children coming soon, business thriving. He laughed, and I thought, yes, I am a lucky man. I have an ideal wife, submissive, silent as a doll. He came up to her, hugged her, and Marina smelled alcohol. My beautiful doll. Do you know why I chose you? You were so pure, naive. I immediately realized that I could mold you into anything. And I did. He spoke almost gently, stroking her cheek. Igor, are you drunk? Go to bed. Marina tried to free myself, but he held on tightly. Sleep. No. Today we'll do creating an heir. Mom is expecting grandchildren. He dragged her into the bedroom, not paying attention to resistance. Marina tried to erase what happened next from her memory. The rudeness, pain, humiliation, everything merged into one nightmare. When Igor finally fell asleep, she lay for a long time, looking at the ceiling. That's it, enough. She can't do it anymore. In the morning, I didn't remember the details of the evening or pretended to. My head was splitting. Make the coffee stronger, he muttered. Marina silently complied with the request, but something inside her finally broke. She no longer felt fear, only emptiness and determination. When Igor left for work, Marina took out her business card. Her hand shook as she dialed the number. Women's Aid Center. I'm listening. A pleasant female voice. I need help, Marina squeezed out. Of course. You security now? Yes, my husband is at work. Okay. Tell me what's going on. And Marina told. For the first time in 3 years, she told the truth about beatings, humiliation, control. The woman on the other end listened attentively, sometimes asking clarifying questions. You are very brave to call. We will help. You can come to us today. I have no documents. He hid. Marina felt despair. This can be solved. The main thing is your safety. Write down the address. Marina wrote down, agreed to meet in 2 hours. After hanging up, she felt strange lightness. The decision was made. She packed a minimum of things into a small bag. Igor mustn't notice the loss. She took the money that was in the house, a little, but better than nothing. Wrote a note the hardest thing. What to write to a person who was her tormentor for 3 years. Igor, I'm leaving. Don't look for me. Take care of your mother. She not guilty. Marina, briefly, without explanations. He will understand everything anyway. She put the note on the table and left the apartment, quietly closing the door. The end one life, the beginning of another. The help center turned out to be a small mansion on the outskirts cities. Marina was met by a woman of about 40 with kind eyes. I am Elena Sergeevna, the center's psychologist. You are safe. She led Marina inside. There were other women there. Some with children, some alone. All with similar stories. First, medical examination. We need to document the beatings, she explained. Elena Sergeevna. The doctor, a young woman, examined Marina with a sympathetic look, took pictures of the bruises and drew up a report. This will come in handy if it comes to court, she explained. Then there was a conversation with a lawyer. We will restore the documents. We'll formalize the divorce. If you want, we can file a police report, he said in a businesslike tone. The young man said. Marina hesitated. The statement meant a glare. And Valentina Pavlovna. Can you think about it? Of course. You don't have to make a decision right away. Lawyer was understanding. Marina was given a room, small but clean, with a bed and a closet. The first time over the years she had her own space. In the evening, the center's phone rang. Marina Volkova is wanted, the duty officer reported. Marina went cold. Igor found her like this quickly. But it was Elena. Murin, thank God. Igor called, looking for you. Where are you? Safe. Alyona. I'm gone, finally. I'm so glad. How can I help? They didn't talk for long. Marina was afraid that Igor could track the call. Alyona promised to help with things, money, anything. You're great, Murin. The most difficult step has been taken, she said as she said goodbye. Marina couldn't sleep that night. What is Igor doing now? Did he find the note? He's looking for it. He's angry. And what about Valentina Pavlovna? Does she know? Guilt washed over her. She had abandoned the woman who in her own way loved her, who was sick. In the morning Elena Sergeevna invited her to conversation. How do you feel? Guilty, Marina answered honestly. It's normal. Many women feel guilty when they leave an abuser. But it's not your fault that you were beaten. No one deserves violence. They talked for a long time. About the cycle of violence, about the psychology of the abuser, about why women tolerate. Your husband grew up in a family where his father beat his mother. He adopted this model. But that's no excuse. Many children from such families grow up and swear never to repeat the mistakes of his parents. His mother. She went through the same thing as me. But she thinks son ideal. Marina told about Valentina Pavlovna. It is a defense mechanism. To admit that I raised an abuser. It's too painful. It's easier to close my eyes, explained the psychologist. At the center, Marina met other women. Each had their own story, but they were all similar. Beating, humiliation, control, fear. Some ran away several times before finally leaving. He swore he would change. I believed, one said. The police came to the center for the third day. Marina was scared, but Elena Sergeevna calmed down. Routine check. Your husband reported missing. Police officer, a tired middle-aged man, listened to Marina. Do you want to write a statement about beatings? Not yet. It's your right. But you're an adult. He can't force you to come back. Igor did not give up trying to find her. Alyona called Marina's parents. She warned them and asked them not to tell where she was, even to some mutual friends. Everyone got the legend. Marina went to a sanatorium to get treatment. She has nervous exhaustion. A week later, Olga called. Marina. This is Olga. Valentina Pavlovna's nurse. She is very worried. She asked to find out how you are. Marina hesitated. She knows that I left. Igor said that you were in a sanatorium, but she feels that something is wrong. So, Olga, tell her that I'm okay. That I didn't mean to upset her. Marina could hardly hold back her tears. I'll pass it on. And one more thing. I'm glad you found the strength. Good luck to you. Olga understood more than she said. In the center, Marina began restore documents. The process was long, but the lawyer helped at every stage. At the same time, preparations for divorce were underway. He won't let go easily, the lawyer warned. Get ready to fight. Elena Sergeevna spent time with her therapy sessions. Marina learned to live again without fear, to make a decision to value herself. You don't a thing, not property. You are a person with your own rights, the psychologist repeated. Simple truths that Marina forgot over the years of marriage. After 2 weeks, it happened unexpected. Valentina Pavlovna arrived in the center. Marina saw her from the window and panicked. How did she find this place? Why did she come? Elena Sergeevna suggested, do you want me to talk to her? Or will the security not let you in? No, I'll leave, Marina decided. Valentina Pavlovna looked aged, haggard. Seeing Marina, she stepped forward. Marinochka, finally. Igor said, you're in a sanatorium, but I felt something was wrong. So. Marina stood, not knowing what to say. Valentina Pavlovna, I'm sorry, but I can come back. She finally spoke. Why? What happened? Did you have a fight? There is pain and misunderstanding in the mother-in-law's eyes. This is more than a quarrel. Igor. Marina, I couldn't tell the truth. What, Igor? Valentina Pavlovna frowned. He beat me, Valentina Pavlovna, constantly. 3 years the words came out by themselves. Mother-in-law turned pale. No, that's not true. Igor is not capable. He not like that. He's just like his father, Marina said quietly. Valentina Pavlovna swayed. No, I raised him differently. He promised. She spoke haltingly. And Marina understood. She knew. Somewhere deep inside there was always knew. I'm very sorry. Marina wanted to comfort the woman, but she didn't know how. Show me, Valentina Pavlovna suddenly demanded. What? Show me the tracks. If this is true, there was a last hope in her voice. Marina rolled up her sleeve, showing bruises on her wrists, She lifted her hair, revealing a mark on her neck. Valentina Pavlovna looked, and tears were running down her cheeks. My God, what am I did? I raised a monster. It's not your fault. Marina tried to calm her down, but Valentina Pavlovna shook her head. I'm guilty. I knew what his father was like. I saw signs of burnout, irascibility, cruelty to animals as a child, but I closed my eyes and hoped. They stood in the middle of the yard center. Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, bonded by their shared pain. What now? Asked Valentina Pavlovna. I'm filing for divorce. I'm starting my life anew, she replied. Marina. And Igor. I don't know. It's not my concern anymore. Forgive me, Marinochka, for what she didn't protect, for what she didn't see, didn't want to see. Valentina Pavlovna took her hands. I don't hold a grudge, and that was the truth. Marina, I didn't blame this woman for being such a victim as herself. I'll talk to him. I'll tell him I didn't look for you. I gave you a divorce, Valentina Pavlovna promised. No need. He might hit his mother? Let him try. Steel entered my mother-in-law's voice. I had been silent for too long. Enough. She left, leaving Marina is confused. What will happen now? Valentina Pavlovna seemed determined. But will she be able to cope with her son? And how will the truth affect her health? In the evening, Elena brought Marina's things, the few that she could take. Igor is furious, shouted, threatened. It's good that you're safe, said a friend. Valentina Pavlovna came. Now she knows. Marina shared. And how is she? It's hard, but she seems ready to take my side. At night, Marina, I had a dream. She was standing in a field full of flowers, the very same ones Valentina had given Pavlovna. But among the beautiful flowers there grew one black one with thorns. She tried to pull out, but the thorns hurt my hands. Woke up in a cold sweat. In the morning they came news. Olga called the center. Valentina Pavlovna is in the hospital again. After talking to her son, she had another attack. More serious than the first. Olga's voice was alarmed. Marina felt the ground slipping away from under her. Legs. It's her fault. If she had kept quiet, could I have visited her? The doctors haven't, they only allow close relatives, Olga replied. But she asked me to tell you, don't blame yourself. These are her words. Marina burst into tears. Even now Valentina Pavlovna was thinking about her. The divorce was stalled. Igor refused to give consent. The lawyer prepared documents for the court, but warned that the process could be delayed. Marina was ready to wait. The main thing was that she was free from the daily nightmare. Center, she began helping other women, cooking, babysitting, listening to stories. You're strong, they told her. But Marina didn't feel strong. She just didn't have it. Choice, to survive or to break down completely. 3 days later Valentina Pavlovna became better. Olga conveyed that she wanted to see Marina. Igor forbade it, but she insists. Says it's important, the nurse explained. Marina gathered her courage and went to the hospital. Valentina Pavlovna looked fragile, almost transparent, but her eyes burned with determination. Marinochka, thank you for coming. She extended her hand, and Marina took it. How are you feeling? Well? Not great. But it doesn't matter. I have something to tell you. I rewrote the will. I leave Igor at least the obligatory share. The rest is for you, Valentina Pavlovna. She spoke quietly but firmly. Valentina Pavlovna, I am not for this. I know, but it's my decision. And I also gave evidence to the lawyer about what Igor is really like. This will help in the divorce. But he is your son. Marina was shocked. The son I love, but who has become monster. I can't fix it, but I can at least help you. Valentina Pavlovna, sorry her hand. Live happily, Marinochka. For both of us. They talked a little more about the past, about unfulfilled dreams, about hope. Saying goodbye, Valentina Pavlovna said, if you have children, raise them to be kind. Break this cycle. Marina nodded, unable to speak. This was their last meeting. In 2 days Valentina Pavlovna died in her sleep. Her heart couldn't take it. Marina learned from Olga, who was crying into the phone. She left calmly. The last words were about you, so that you would not blame herself. Marina did not go to the funeral. The lawyer forbade it, fearing a clash with Igor. But Elena, who was there, told. He played the grieving son. But you should have seen his face when the will was read. He was furious. Valentina Pavlovna's will was indeed a surprise. The apartment, the dacha, the greater part savings. Everything to Marina. Igor only what was due by law. And a letter, which the notary gave to Marina separately. Dear Marinochka, if you are reading this, it means I'm no longer here. Don't cry, I lived a long life, I saw my grandchildren in my dreams. Too bad it's not real. I'm sorry it didn't protect you sooner. I was blind or did not want to see. Mother's love sometimes makes us selfish. What I leave you is not payment for suffering. It is a chance to start over. Sell everything, move away, start over. And remember, you deserve love. Real, without pain and fear. Find her. And Igor, I wrote to him too. Maybe, someday he will understand, or maybe not. It's not your concern anymore. Live, Marinochka, live for both of us. With love, yours Valentina Pavlovna. Marina cried, reading the letter. This woman, whom she considered part of her prison, at the end turned out to be the one who gave her the key to freedom. Life is full of irony. Igor, of course, tried to challenge the will, but Valentina Pavlovna had foreseen everything. The documents were drawn up impeccably. There are witnesses to her sound mind. The evidence of domestic violence also played a role. The judge was a woman, and she clearly sympathized with Marina. The divorce was granted quickly. The death of his mother broke Igor. He signed all the documents. At the last meeting he looked at Marina with hatred. You ruined my life. You killed my mother, he hissed. No, Igor, you destroyed everything yourself, she answered calmly and walked out of the hall a free woman. Marina sold her apartment and dacha. Too many memories. With the money I got I bought a small apartment in another city, closer to parents. They were happy that their daughter had returned, although they were horrified to learn the truth about her marriage. Why did you keep quiet? Cried Mom. I was ashamed and scared, Marina answered honestly. Her father was silent, but she saw how he clenched his fists. It's good that I won't meet this man, was all he said. Marina got a job, finally returned to her favorite design. The boss, having learned her story, did not details, of course, she went to meet me. Flexible schedule of understanding. We have half co-workers with similar stories. We stick together, she said. Elena often came to visit. They walked, went to cafes, made up for lost time years of isolation. Have you changed? A friend noted. Have you become brighter or something? Marina smiled. She felt it herself, as if she had dropped a heavy burden. She continued psychotherapy in a new city. Young female psychologist helped to deal with traumas, taught to live without looking back at the past. You have passed through hell, but came out. That says a lot, she supported. Half a year Marina met Andrei. He was a client. Ordered the design of the cafe. Calm, smiling, with kind eyes. The complete opposite of Igor. At first business meetings, then conversations over a cup of coffee, walks. I owe you, I have something to tell you, Marina said after a month of communication and shared. Not everything, but enough. Andrei listened silently, then hugged. Thank you for trusted. It's in the past. What matters is what you are now. They don't were in a hurry. Andrei was patient, understood her fears, reactions. When he first raised his voice because of the loss of her favorite team, Marina shuddered. He immediately understood and apologized. I'm sorry, I'll be more careful. News came from Igor through mutual friends. He started drinking after his mother's death. The business went downhill. Then he married again, to a young girl who left from him in 3 months. With bruises, added the informant. Marina sighed. The circle continued. On the anniversary of Valentina Pavlovna's death, Marina went to the cemetery and laid roses, those same soft pink ones that her mother-in-law named after her. Thank you, she whispered, for understanding in the end, for freedom, for a chance. There was someone else standing at the grave, Olga. They hugged and cried together. She was a good woman. Just confused, said Olga. I know, nodded Marina. They stood in silence, then went their separate ways, each to their own lives. 2 years later, Marina married Andrei. A small wedding, only close ones. Aliona was bridesmaid. cried with happiness. "You deserve it," she whispered. The parents were beaming. Their daughter was smiling sincerely again. A year later, a daughter was born. They named her Valentina in memory of the woman who gave her a second chance. Looking at sleeping baby, Marina thought about her mother-in-law's words. Break this cycle. She will tear apart. Her daughter will grow up in love without fear. Sometimes, on quiet evenings, Marina remembered the past. The scars did not heal with pain, with sadness about the lost years, with gratitude to those who helped, with the understanding that what she experienced made her stronger. Igor became a ghost of the past. She heard that he was being treated for alcoholism, trying to get his life back on track. Maybe his mother's death taught him something his, or maybe not. This is not her story anymore. Her story is about rebirth, that it is never too late to start over. About the power that is in every woman. About help that will come if you ask. About love that heals. About life after hell. Marina often spoke at the Women's Aid Center, shared experience, supported the newcomers. You can handle it, she said, looking into frightened eyes. I know it seems like there is no way out now, but there is. There is always. The letter from Igor arrived after 5 years. Clumsy handwriting, confused phrases. He asked for forgiveness, wrote about therapy, about awareness. I became a monster, like my father. Mom was right. Forgive me if you can. Not for me. For myself. Marina thought for a long time, then wrote an answer, short, I've forgiven. Live on, don't repeat mistakes. Sent and forgot. It was the last chord of their story. Life went on. The daughter grew up, laughed, reached out to the world. Andrei turned out to be a wonderful father, gentle, patient. Marina's design studio flourished. The parents moved closer, helped with the granddaughter. For a decade of freedom, Marina counted from the day she left. Elena arranged a surprise, gathered everyone, who helped. Elena Sergeevna from the center, a lawyer. Even Olga came. They were sitting in garden of the new house, laughed, remembered. For you, Marina, for what you found strength. For being happy. Elena raised her glass. Everyone supported the toast. Marina, I looked at these people, my new family, and felt gratitude. In the evening, while putting her daughter to bed, she told her a story about a princess in a tower. But the princess was smart and brave. She found a way out herself and left, and met a real prince who truly loved her. And the dragon? Asked the little girl. And the dragon left alone. Because evil dragons are always left alone. At night, hugging husband, Marina thought about the path she had taken, about the pain that taught her to value happiness, about fear that the brave made, about hatred that was melted into compassion, about the past, which became the foundation of the future. Somewhere out there, in another life, there was a frightened girl hiding her bruises. Here in the present there was a woman, strong, free, loved. Marina closed her eyes and smiled. Tomorrow will be a new day, and it will be good. The story is over, but life goes on. For Marina, for the thousands of women who found the strength to leave. For those who are still on the way, for those who extends a helping hand. The circle is broken, freedom is possible, happiness is achievable. You just have to take the first step.